recording. We'll start with our prayer. Okay.
But actually the screen comes up correct now, Uttara.
Yeah, in the recording it was fine. But
Okay.
I don't know. It seems okay right now.
Yeah.
Om Moshuna Soma Mrityave Paradaha.
Om Shuna Soma Mrityave Paradaha.
Ashyemano Suryam Ucharantam.
Pashyemanu Suryam Ucharantam.
Dyubhirhito Jarimasu Astu.
Virhito
Jarimasu astu.
Parataram Sunirritirjihitam.
Parataram Nirritim.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Okay, any questions are there from last time? No. Oh, wonderful. Okay.
So actually,
The floor is all yours. Now you can ask.
This is, so much like the students saying, I didn't know, so how would I tell you kind of thing. So we didn't know, how would we ask?
So general questions are allowed? General questions are allowed? Or
Actually,
only from last?
You mean overall?
no,
She
before
can say, what is prana?
Overall, let us take up little bit later.
no.
Fine.
This
Uttara, sorry, I had a quick question, especially in the first part. When I read, since I didn't attend the last class and I was reading through the commentary, first thing that struck me was, though you had an explanation later, but the first thing that struck me as outside of the, the 16 kalas was the food. That is one thing that comes from outside, isn't it? The rest are all either belonging to the body or to the mind.
Yes.
Of course, you are saying that food actually refers to the digested food.
Yeah.
But still somehow I'm not able to really fix that. Is there a deeper meaning to the reference to the food, or is it just the food, in which case it's still an outside thing?
So, I was reading this A.G. Wells book, The War of the Worlds, recently. And there, the Martians are depicted as creatures that have gotten rid of the digestive system. So, because of that, 90% of their body is gone. They are directly taking blood from their victims. That means that they what they don't need to process anything. They are just taking directly all the nutrition in the blood from the victim. So the idea was that 90% of our body approximately is actually just the digestive system. That is the thing you have to think about, that actually starting from the mouth up till the end of your middle body, it's all the digestive system. And if you remove that, then you just have the head and your limbs, which can be directly attached to the head also in some way, or so a major component of the being consists of the digestive apparatus. So there is a possibility
here-
that because of
here food doesn't only refer to food as such, but the whole ability to be able to consume, process, and utilize it. That's what you mean?
Kind of, but I would not go that far. But what I would like to tell you is that Ann is a very important part of the being. So even as far as digestion of the food is concerned, it is a very big part of the being. Yeah. So what you
I
are
feel
saying is
like
correct.
I feel like this. There is this triad need, right, for the body. One is the prana force, which gives the life force, but one shouldn't confuse life force as the one sustaining the body in entirety, because annam is the battery of the body, which is the poshaka for the body sustenance. So prana is being distinguished from anna in that way, saying anna is a different element which is also an energy provider. Prana is a different one, like that.
So, taking that point further, so a number of times the Brahmanas have said that annam ve prana. That means that food itself is prana. Why? Because food is the one which sustains your prana. Okay, which is also what we had seen in an earlier chapter where it said that all the devas, they give as oblation food to the prana. Okay, so that part is also there, that prana is itself sustained by food. Also, it leads to growth. So, now organic growth has become very famous in the corporate world for quite some time now. It's old. But compared to inorganic growth, there is this thing called organic growth, which is from inside. It builds everything larger. So that also would not happen in a being without anna. So anna is very important for the being, and in a different way, as Anuj has pointed out, compared to prana or anything else which may be there.
Okay.
But yes, I agree with you. It looks a little bit as if it is something outside the body, but that is why I have given you this interpretation of something which is inside the body and which is to be used, processed by the body in order to be consumed. Okay.
And like you pointed out, annam is pointing to the digested food, not the undigested version. So annam by definition is digested food. So your interpretation of including it in the body is correct.
Yeah, and also, in a way, food also influences our thinking, action, and all that, isn't it? If you look at it,
absolutely.
Way also.
So that is why they say that you should have sattvic food, because then that leads to sattvic vicharas. And if you have tamasic food, then it leads to tamasic vicharas. So very much that is correct, and that is why one should have fresh fruits, vegetables, etc. They are supposed to be the most sattvic. Okay, so today I will skip the recap. Otherwise, we will spend too much time. Also, since I have to tell you a different interpretation of the same paras, so automatically one recap will happen. And anyway, you don't have too many questions, right? So we shall continue. I shall straight away jump into the second interpretation of this chapter. However, I must tell you that I don't really subscribe too much to that view. As you will see, there are number of shortcomings which are there in this second interpretation. The interpretation with Jeevaatmaa is the one which is the most apt, and the interpretation for Brahma is a very forced interpretation, and it arises out of that last para, okay, where he says Parabrahma, not last, second last para, where he says, this is all I know about Parabrahma. So because Parabrahma comes over there, that is why we are forced to take this second interpretation, which a number of commentators have taken. So that is why, for completeness sake, I am covering it for you as well. But I will not be covering it in the commentary because I think it is just unnecessary distraction. Okay, so the first para remains the same. It is just the question. Then in the second para, where Pipalad starts speaking, and he says, "Ihavanta sharire somya sa purusho yasmin etaha shodashakalaha prabhavanti iti." So he says that in this very body, these shodashakala arise because of the in this purusha. So here the purusha now we are going to interpret as Brahma. Given that Purush is equal to Brahma, the Sharir is taken as a Brahmanda. Okay, so the whole universe is treated as the Sharir of God. This itself will start collapsing as we move to that Prana, Shaddam, etc. When we reach that one, this interpretation will not work. However, for the time being, we will take it as such. Then sa iksham chakre kasmin aham utkranto bhavishyami kasmin va pratishtite pratishthasyami iti. So then God says things that in whose rising shall I, in whose leaving shall I seem to depart, and in whose establishing shall I seem to be established. So here now the interpretation has to be taken as an eva has to be added, like, seem. So it's not applicable for God. God is everywhere. He cannot depart. He cannot be established anywhere. He is always established everywhere. So we have to attach an extra word here, that is seems to be departing and seems to be established. Okay, so the idea is that only when there is a being who can see God, then only he is there. Otherwise, when there is no being, then there is no God. Okay, so that is one meaning. So that is why in this Brahman, when he has created beings, then only he will be there. So while the Brahman is there, he is there, but he doesn't really seem to exist because there is nobody to see that he is existing. And so this is not an absolute statement, it is a relative statement which is saying that I would seem to exist when beings exist, and when they don't exist, then it seems as if I have departed. So then for that reason, he creates prana. So again, a prana is to be interpreted as beings. So he creates prana. So now you see, from Brahmand, we have moved on to the body once again, the body of the being once again. So from prana, he generates Shraddha, which is buddhi, which if we see the Sankhya explanation, that Prakriti, that is the original primordial matter from which Mahat originates, if we try and equate prana to that primordial matter, that is also not correct, because firstly the primordial matter is not created and it is not equal to prana. So here we are saying God created prana, so therefore it has to be something different. So understand prana as the life force, as the basis of life, which is something mysterious, which we are not able to fully comprehend today, but which they said. So that has both a subtle form and a gross form. The subtle form exists with the subtle body, and the gross form exists in our body as it is today in the 5 forms which we studied. So he created a prana, that means he created beings. In the beings, he created intelligence, and also the 5 elements. Plus, he created all the senses, both the Jnanendriya and the Karmendriya, and he created mana, and anna. Now, anna here in this particular interpretation, we could potentially interpret it as external. But again, there is a difficulty in accepting it as an external anna, rice growing outside or something like that, because everything else is okay. The 5 elements are not directly linked to the body, but other than 5 elements, everything else has no existence if there is no body. Okay, so your pran, your buddhi, indriya, mana, tapa, mantra, karma, loka, and nama. Nama, okay, naam again, we can look upon it as nouns, and there are nouns for things which are external to the body too. So there is a potentiality to possibility to call this anna as the food which has been generated outside, but I would still favor something which is linked to the body, which again means digested food. Then virya is again bala and reproductive capacity. Then tapa, again sukha dukha. Mantra, knowledge. Karma, that is deeds. Loka, okay, loka is again one more thing which in the interpretation of God you can see it as all habitable worlds. So not only the body, but in all habitable worlds, he creates those, and along with the beings he creates language. Okay, so you can see there is a little stretching and compression here and there. You really have to kind of fit the meaning for Brahma. Okay, so then the next ones, Yathema Nadya Sandamana. So just as rivers flowing to the ocean lose their identity when they merge with the ocean, they have neither name nor form. Similarly, when all these 16 kalas, they go and they become one with the Purusha, then they lose their name and form. They are no longer 16 kalas. They are known as Purusha only. And the Purusha becomes Akala Amrita. This, to put it for Brahma, is actually really you have to stretch. So they say that at the time of Pralay, at the end of the universe, all these kalas, they disintegrate, and they become only Purusha is left. And at that time, you say that this is Purusha only, and it doesn't have any kalas, and there is no Mrityu as well. The thing is that God should not, even if you take the universe as the body of God in a metaphorical sense, it would be very incorrect to say that there is death in that body for God. To associate death with God is not at all a desirable thing. So to say Amrita for God in absolution is correct, but in terms of relative terms, that he was associated with death before, but now at the time of Pralay, now he has become Amrita, is not a desirable thing. So this one is a giveaway, actually, if you ask me, that this meaning is only applicable for the Jeevaatmaa and not for Paramatma. Anyway, so this is the second meaning which is applied, that at the time of Pralay, all the kalas are lost and they become one with God. Then in the sixth one, we say Araiva Rathanabha Kala Yasmin Pratishtita. So this, of course, you can directly apply that all the kalas are situated in God, as if they are spokes connected to a hub, and God is the hub. And that is the Purusha that we must aspire to learn about. Once we come to know God, then we will be become devoid of the fear and of death itself, and of fear of death as well. So that is it. So from the next one onwards, Tan Hovacha Etavadeva Etat Param Brahma Veda Natah Paramastiti. So this remains the same, that I know God only to Param Brahma to this extent, and I don't know beyond this. This remains the same. Okay, is it clear? I have done some rapid fire interpretation for you.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I would actually like to share one Vedic mantra which also shows God as Shodashakala. So this is the verse I will just sing for you. Yasma jatam na pura kinchaneva yabhuva bhuvanani vishwa prajapatihi prajaya sandraranas trini jyotinshi sachate sa shodashi. So here you can see this word shodashi, which means the one who has 16. So this is read as the one who has 16 kalas, because kala means parts. So the one who has 16 anshas, 16 kalas is called shodashi. So this is, of course, about God. So it says yasma jatam na pura kinchaneva. Nothing is born or created before him. Ya abhabhuva bhuvanani vishwa. He who has created all the lokas, and who himself exists in all of them. Prajapatihi. So he has also been called Prajapatihi, the protector of beings. So Prajapatihi, Prajaya Sanranas, along with the Praja, along with the beings, he enjoys, he gambles, he frolics in this universe. Tidi Jyotinshi, Sachate Sa Shodashi. So he attaches three kinds of energies. So these three kinds of energies have been mentioned many times in the Vedas and in all allied granthas, where the first one is based on Prithvi, that is Agni, that is combustion. The second one is based in Antariksha, and that is Vidyut or electricity, anything related with charged ions or charged particles. And then the third one is on the sun, that is fusion and fission, nuclear energy. These are the three forms of energy which are broadly defined in the Vedas. And you can try and see if you can think of any other energy. I had thought when I was studying initially that there is a potential energy and there is a kinetic energy. But actually, if you see, they are not the generators of energy. Some force is applied on them, and that energy gets stored in them, but they do not generate energy on their own. So that is why potential and kinetic energy actually cannot be included as energy generators. So these Agni, Vidyut, and Dyo. These are the three forms of energy generations.
Of course, the first one is chemical then, in that strain, chemical,
Correct.
electrical, nuclear.
Correct. All combustion implying all chemical reactions.
Very interesting, Uttara. I do understand that, in older times, people understood the Agni very easily because, they knew Agni in that form, and also the electrical energy because they always saw the light and related to that became the electrical or symbolizing the electrical energy. But I'm wondering what thoughts would they have had regarding the nuclear energy? And you were saying this relates to the sun. But even in Agni, did they not refer to the sun, or it was only in terms of,
No, that is the funny part. Actually, see, we are very used to reading commentaries by people who are fairly ignorant. Okay, so we are not exposed to people who know things well, science well. That is why I keep encouraging you people to read Swami Dayanand's works. Please read Swami Dayanand Satyar Prakash. Please read his Rigvedadi Bhashya Bhumika. Your brain will expand. You people are used to listening to God people, God men or women, whoever it is, who are talking psychology. You might as well go to a psychiatrist and get all that information from there. Be calm, don't get angry, don't be scared, don't worry about what the other person is saying. These are some things which even psychiatrist or a psychologist can tell you. So they live on that. So we feel very good because we are all a very stressed out generation. So this much is good enough. As such, we need not even consider ourselves as special. Throughout the ages, there have been godmen and women, and they have made fools of people, and they have made good money, and they have lived in like royalty. We see that, and yet we close our eyes to it. And I'm extremely shocked to see intelligent people not being able to see the fraud being committed in this name. So that is the reason why you don't hear how much intelligence is there in the Vedas. And when I also say, even just now I was talking to somebody, then everybody is doubting me. So I cannot help it. If you have not read, it is your problem. If you have not seen, if you have read all the Upanishads and you did not see any of the sages saying, go to the temple, go and pray to Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, did you see it anywhere? What were you supposed to do for Chandramasa Lok? Just think, what were we told? What should we do?
Ishta
East and Apurta. Did it include going to the temple and giving prasad and feeding the brahmanas? Actually, feeding the brahmanas is still okay. At least you are feeding some human beings. But going to and praying to the idol of what? What is this idol? Is there one god? Are there many gods? Has anybody talked of Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh? Has anybody said there is a fight between Vishnu, Mahesh going on all the time? Just go over. This is the distinguishing factor between Vedic and non-Vedic. That is Puranic. So Puranas are just filled. It is just filled with this nonsense. And that is so easy to assimilate. No, even Jesus Christ never said, pray to me. But now we create one idol of Jesus Christ. So easy to pray to one idol. So always we will fall back to, even intelligent people will fall back to what is an easy thing. Einstein's theory of relativity is very difficult to handle. So we will go with Newton only all the time. So this is how it is. And I'm very sorry to say that you are hearing it for the first time, but you can see it yourself. As you can see, people knowing Sanskrit are sitting over here. They cannot fault my interpretation. There is no Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Manu Smriti never said. This never said. Forget about these. Actually, if you think about the original Ramayana and the original Mahabharata, nobody ever goes to a temple. What do they do when they are going to perform an important thing? What happens in a Rajyabhishek? What happens when you have to go for battle, or you have to ask for something from God? What is done?
Yajna.
Yajna. Never has it ever been said that go to a temple, put flowers, give money, put in the dan hundi, give some gold to the priest. So once you start connecting these dots, then you will realize how far we have come away from the Vedic culture, and how the Puranas, because they are so nice, it's so lovely to think of some Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and then some fight going on like human beings. We can build up more and more stories. Like recently, I heard some women speaking to each other, and they were saying, when Ramchandra ji was going for the battle with Ravan, then she took some flowers and she went to the temple and she prayed over there. So I was saying to myself, yes, I don't know what you have read, but this is not in the original Ramayana.
Also, interestingly, I would just like to mention that when the nuclear bomb was exploded, Oppenheimer, he quoted from our text. I mean, though, of course, it was maybe in a different context, but even that link that you're building with the nuclear energy with the sun, I think it's all right. It's just that we don't like to take it forward. That's my thing.
Yeah, and actually,
No, I was only trying to understand here what was the understanding of people before us about nuclear energy. So is it because we are mentioning the three forms of energy? 1 and 2 was very easily, I can understand what would have, what everybody, a normal person would have seen about Agni and also Vidyut. So I was wondering, how would they have
perceive
perceived
the fission and fusion processes. So, see,
yeah.
directly fission and fusion are not mentioned, but Dulok is mentioned. And now I have to tell you that most of our texts, which were sitting in Nalanda and Takshashila, are destroyed. And there was a lot of destruction which happened during Mahabharat and during these Islamic invasions, at which time the Takshashila and Nalanda were burned. So one should not be under this impression that this is all kind of yogis just sat and meditated and they discovered all these things. There is a lot of experimental knowledge also which is there, of which now we read only the final results. But Vedic knowledge is anyway beyond all this. It is God given, which again we may have great doubts about believing. But this one point itself should make you understand how different that knowledge is, and how deep that knowledge is, this Vedic knowledge. It puts Dulok separate, because, and the energy which is produced over there is the Saurya energy, which is considered not equal to energy and not equal to Agni or Vidyut. Firstly, seeing Vidyut as electricity, I will tell you that is a big jump in itself. Because lightning was not seen as electricity by the West for donkey's years. I mean, it's only recently that we understand that it is a form of energy. So that is how it is, folks. I've spent a lot of time on this, but I was feeling that you people are not giving up that part of your own thing because you're not connecting the dots. So I also wanted to tell it to you. So we shall stop here and start the next session.